My imaginary friend was staying over this week, so I made his bed up.
Oh. God's sake.
Come on. It's simple, it's effective, it's to the point, it's right there. It's right there.
I'll have you know that glugging sound you just said was the last of the very strong spirits I've got in this house. Thank you. I've got no more jokes, please. Thank you.
Well, I went to a fancy dress competition last night dressed as a giraffe. I didn't win, but at least I can hold my head up high. Come on, that's a good one. Come on. No, all right then. Oh well. Yeah, I keep dreaming I'm swimming along the river in Paris. I think I'm going insane. Geography one for you there.
Nice.
Never mind. What? Right, I'll leave it there anyway. Hello, everyone. Welcome. The silence was too much. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to Black Dog version 2, episode 110. Can you believe it? 110. Who knew we'd get this far? And yes, hi, I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
And as you can tell, we've been away for a bit, so I'm completely fucking up this intro. So there we go. Hooray! So we will see how everyone's week's been, and then we will have a little bit of feedback for last week's last episode, rather, which was the Block Island Sound episode. And then we will move on to this week's movie, which we will review, which is X, which was my choice, which, you know, don't sit and watch it with your nan. That's all I'm going to say.
Because she might get fruity.
You don't want fruity nan. You don't want fruity nan.
All of a sudden you look down and you see a hand on your leg. You're like, whoa, hang on.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Suddenly there's a bow, chicka bow cow.
If I didn't know any better, I would have said it was Darren Diamond that picked this week's film.
Well, I'm surprised he was on the soundtrack, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
Being a 70s man.
Being a 70s man just making his way through time.
And the female population. Age, no barrier.
Yeah. I like 'em old and wrinkly. Hey. Anyway, let's not worry about that now. I think we've got that nightmare to come. But anyway, let's start the podcast. See how everyone's week's been, and we'll start with you, Jim, as ever. How's your week been, sir?
I've been busy. This is my busy season, obviously, with Halloween and then preparing for Christmas. Plots are being hatched, plans are being drawn up, work is being made for myself absolutely needlessly, as usual.
Obviously.
But when I've not been doing all of that nonsense, I've been rather enjoying an old podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'd like to recommend to people.
Go for it.
Called Blame It on Outer Space.
Oh.
It's by a couple of guys who are on We Hate Movies.
Oh,
the
yeah.
podcast is now defunct, but the episodes are still there. I mean, I found them on a site called Forble. That's lots of old radio shows and podcasts archived.
Oh, right.
And basically, every episode they tackle a different conspiracy theory.
Right.
And it is very funny.
Oh, nice.
Because they're not just doing sort of... I mean, if you're looking for a show... going to, a deep delve into the world of the strange and the paranormal, or you want a thorough good debunking, this is not the show for you.
Oh, right.
This is a show where you'll have observation about, but time and time again, whatever they're talking about, it'll go back to cattle mutilations and calling out cattle's assholes. This is a show where you'll learn about DUMBs, deep underground military bases.
Nice.
where they're working out the entire hierarchy, what's under the earth. So what level is this? Is this Chuds? No, we're above Chuds, below Morlocks, and just above the Reptoids. Where are the Greys? They're in the showers. Okay.
Yeah. At what level are the Silurians? Are they? Yeah.
But they just have just a real, just a good laugh at, because I mean, the stuff they're kind of covering is the most way out stuff. I mean, if they've done a show on Bigfoot, it's not just about Bigfoot; it's about the crackpot theories that Bigfoot was made by robots. And,
Oh, God.
you know what I mean? It's really going to the out there stuff,
Properly pushing it out there. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, and it's just highly entertaining. You might be tempted to dip in, but I would recommend beginning with the first episode.
Episode?
It was the Reptoid agenda.
Yeah,
Which pretty much set the stage for a lot of the nonsense that comes afterwards.
Oh, right. Okay. That sounds good. And
It is really good. So.
And where can we find that now? Is that...
I found it on a site called Forble, but I believe a lot of it's still up on various pod feeds anyway. But Forble has the full thing from the start. Cool. So one of the close, Eric has a thing of he has trouble reading names, which becomes kind of a running joke. And they keep referring to a being called the Dievil, who's the Lord of Darkness, because of one mispronunciation, and reading things in the Bible. But yeah, it is a very, very funny show. I mean, it's just because they sort of go on board with this stuff and have these flights of fancy and try and make sense of the frankly incomprehensible nonsense. Is everything about Bigfoot big? I don't know, maybe. Should we be calling him Big Cock?
Oh, right. I get it.
That's the level. That's the level.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But,
I know.
Yeah. But I think we're just up to the about halfway through London, into Shocktober, and they just did some analysis of famous campfire stories, which involved shit monsters by the end of it. So,
of course.
So I highly recommend that. I've been thoroughly enjoying it because it is just some guys, in their flat shooting the shit, and they usually have a guest comedian on as well. And so they have one episode of one comedian. He did the whole show in character as Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah.
Don't bullshit me. I've seen the documents.
Oh.
As the governor of Minnesota, I demanded to see the documents.
Nice.
They wouldn't show me, but I demanded anyway.
Exactly. I stood there eating this. This stuff makes you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaur. Yeah.
Yes, I highly recommend that because that's been my soundtrack while I've been doing a lot of other admin work and various other stuff. There's cheered up a generally sort of a stressful time.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I'm going to take a list of that. Actually, it sounds good, especially when they sort of get that formula and really stick to it and kind of drive it into the ground. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, you want to go all in on these conspiracy theories? They're all true. Okay, we're living in crazy land now. Cool. Anything else?
No, I think I'll leave that there.
Okay, that sounds good. I will definitely check that out. Cool, and we'll move on to you then, Elton. How was your week, fortnight?
Very stressful, as per normal. It seems like every week is very extremely stressful. But I'm battling the elements of rain getting in the house, which is just driving me up the wall at the moment.
Oh yeah,
and I think I have worked it out. What's happening is my gutters are filling up with water. And it's piling over the fascia board, which is unbelievably, I cannot believe it's been built this way where the fascia board is lower than the level of the gutter. And what are you guys even thinking about here? So now I've panic taken a couple of days off, so I'm going to be, I know it's going to be dry Thursday, Friday. So I'm going to be taking off my gutter in, moving it down a little bit, shimmying it over, patching it up. All the fun stuff, all the great stuff that we need to do. It's brilliant.
Oh, this sounds amazing. This sounds like next week next week. How was your week, Elton? I nearly died trying to move some guttering.
I nearly did a rod hole. I must admit that.
Oh God.
Because it lashed down this weekend. And I found myself doing a spot of drawing as well, which is really nice. I'm kind of zoning in on that, and it's helping with my stress levels at the moment. And we had a massive downpour, and we keep looking at the roof or the ceiling in one of these rooms, and we're like, is anything coming in? No, it looks all right. Take a photo of it. Draw around the old mark. Okay, fine. Anything? No, nothing. So it's all fine. But then we have like a massive downpour, and then all of a sudden you get like 3 or 4 spots. You're like, oh, for fuck's sake. I thought I sorted it, and it's back there again. So, okay, fine. I need to reassess the situation and go for it again. And it got to the point where it had been peeing down. It had stopped. There was sunshine. There was rainbow. Oh, it was such a glorious day. There was lambs lambing in the meadows. There was people skipping down the road. Butterflies were fluttering past me. Sun was shining. Rainbows out everywhere. And it was like, Amanda said, we've got some tarpaulin if you just want to cover it for now. Well, okay. It needs to be going up on the roof, doesn't it? So that, okay, fine. I got up there and put this tarpaulin on, put some bricks on it, and then one of my feet went onto the tarpaulin, and don't do that. That's well slippery. It's like, oh, heart went
Nice.
Didn't like that, so then crept down the ladder and had to go up the other side so I could put it down on the other side, and everything was a bit sketchy because everything was absolutely sodden. It was a scary time. So I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully there will be some hijinks next weekend to report on.
Nothing wrong with a bit of hijinks.
Either that or I'll be from hospital 4A.
I was going to say...
Totally in plaster.
How's the Wi-Fi from A&E? Is it good?
Broken back, broken legs, broken arm. Be all right.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. If nothing else, we'll be able to suitably take the piss.
Please do. If I end up dying from this, yes, you have my permission to royally rib me. From this.
It's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, you've been roofied. It's fine. It's no worries.
There was not an emu in sight.
No, he was.
Yes.
He was.
If you see emu on your left, that means death is near, I believe. In the car.
He's been proper gutted. Gutted.
No, that didn't work.
No, it didn't work. I gave it a try.
If you have to explain it, it didn't work.
Shush.
If I have to explain that as well.
That's what I like about comedy. It's it's always great when you hammer it into the ground and over explain it. Timing.
No.
The key to good comedy. Timing. Do things in threes. Timing.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
what else? I watched. You know, I'm a bit partial to a war movie.
oh yes,
There's a war movie that's just come out on Netflix. A German war movie called All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, I want to see that.
Oh, it's so many emotions.
yeah.
So many emotions. Yeah. Wow. Powerful. Amazing. Looks incredible.
Yeah.
I felt like I was getting trench foot watching it. It was that good.
Nice. Is it one of those war films where you come away thinking I was about 100% more cheerful when I started this?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are like that, really, aren't there? There's none that you come away going, "Wow, that was rather good, wasn't it?"
No, that's true. But
Do
I
you remember when that guy got stabbed by the bayonet? Oh, how we laughed!
yeah, how we laughed as that tank blew him out of that church tower. It's so
Yeah.
funny.
There's some real grim moments. Does everyone remember in Saving Private Ryan, the shh, shh,
Oh, yeah.
shh moment?
Oh yes.
There is. I'm not saying it is. It's definitely not a copy or anything like that. But it has its own equivalent version of it.
Oh god.
But it's not a copy of it. And this one, you thought Saving Private Ryan was all blood and guts and right in your face, and how realistic this could be. Yeah, this, it's like,
Yep.
there's some proper horrible moments in this, and it's, I don't know when did we really become aware of germs and shit like that, because it's clear that there was no...
Sometime around about the Black Death, I think, wasn't it?
What time is it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. Still not yet. There's still
Yeah.
plenty of people. But yeah, there's moments where you just, no, boil that. I'd boil that if I was you.
Boil it some more.
Don't drink that. There's a moment where someone takes a swig out of a bucket.
Oh, no.
No.
And it proper glugs this thing down because they're so thirsty. That is, I would say, 50% water.
Oh, no.
Did they make a chewing motion when they swallowed?
No, they
something?
didn't. No, but
No? Okay.
you can see how thick it is.
Oh, stop it!
Oh.
Stop it.
Oh. That reminds me of the joke about the guy who comes in out of the desert is a cowboy, and he goes up to the bar, and he says to the barman, "Give me a drink of water," and the barman says, "Have you got any money, partner?" And the cowboy goes, "No, I've got nothing."
No, I've heard this joke.
And the too late, you're trapped in the headphones with me.
No escape.
And the barman says, "Well, you can't have a drink." So the cowboy says, "I'll do anything, just give me a drink of water. I need drink." And so the barman and now a couple of the denizens of the bar are now looking between each other, and then they say to the barman looks and says to the cowboy, "How about you take a sip from that spittoon over there?" And the cowboy goes, "But it's almost full." And the barman says, "Well, you want a drink, man? This is it. We ain't got much entertainment around here." So the cowboy thinks about it, and then he slowly moves over to the spittoon, and he picks it up, and it's all brown and green and swirls, and there's a couple of bubbles on it. Oh. And he lifts it up, brimming to his lips, and he goes, "Will." And then the barman's like, "Oh no, son, you gotta stop." And he's like, and the cowboy's like, "Will." And the barman's like, "Oh no, man! Here, look, here's your drink, here's your whiskey." And there's people in the bar all throwing up, and the cowboy's like, The barman's like, "Oh my God, it was just a joke. Stop!" And the cowboy's, and he finishes, wipes his mouth, goes over to the bar, takes his bottle of whiskey, and walks off, taking a swig. And the barman says, "Son, that's the most disgusting thing I ever did see." He goes, "Why didn't you stop when we gave you the drink? We were only playing with you." And the cowboy turns around and says to the barman, "I would have stopped, but it was all in one lump."
Oh.
Place his headphones back on head. There we go. I could feel myself beginning to drive wretch. I really could.
We've just lost all of our listeners now.
I can actually taste it.
No, you can't.
Do you ever get that when
No, just no.
I must be the only person that can
Yes,
taste?
you are. You are the only person. You freak.
So you're saying that the All Quiet on the Western Front has a scene like that?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, nice.
Fucking hell.
Nice.
And for next week's film, no.
We will be for next week's film. We'll be doing Downfall. Nice, cool. Yeah. Okay. So so you'd recommend the film though?
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else, so I'm going to say no. Let's move on.
Okay. Fair enough. Then, in which case, we shall move over to you, Mr. Barnard. Wipe your mouth. Stop
Thank
dry
you.
heaving.
Cheers.
And how was your week, sir? How was your fortnight?
Fucking hell, a lot better than that last 5 minutes, I'll tell you that now. Fucking Ada.
Nobody's listening anymore. But, how
this is
was the
it.
last 5
They've
minutes?
gone. We've cleared them all out.
That's it.
Right, so my week this week. Well, let's see. I'll start with the really happy stuff. It's been 5 years since me and Ree started going out with one another.
Ooh,
5 years. I'm sure there is you get less for insert crime here.
I don't know.
From
You'd have
Ree's
to speak
point of
to
view.
her.
Yeah, exactly. Let off with good behaviour, So there we go.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'd say congratulations to you, commiserations to her, but otherwise, yeah, all good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're
Cheers.
welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, indeed. So that was a nice extended weekend, just not doing near enough anything at all. We did go out for some nice desserts at one of the local sort of, these dessert places that have sprung up everywhere.
Creams
one
or, like that.
Yeah, that sort of thing. We got one in Weybridge called Marbles, which we went to, which was very nice. So there was all that. So that was good. Let's see, what else did we do? Well, a week before that, went to a Halloween party at Mr. Colin Jacobs. So that was enjoyable. Very nice night out. It's nice to get out every once in a while. We haven't been out that much recently. But, it was nice to get out, dress up, do the old, put the fancy dress costume on and go there.
Right.
So it was nice to get out the front door, really was, and have a couple of beers, which I don't drink these days. Jesus Christ almighty. I have one, and it's like these days, my God. Does anybody? Is it me, by the way, or does anybody else? If they go out for a drink, do they have to have 2 beers and not just one?
Dear God, no. Dude, you wait till you get to my week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I have to have 2. I have to have at least 2 beers. If I have one, I've got a terrible hangover. If I have 2, I don't feel like that at all. And I don't know how that works. Still haven't worked that out yet.
Right. No. There's some kind of halfway house balance, but I don't know where that is. And I paid the price the other week. But
I'm sure we will find out what had you sort of like, technically adjourning everything inside.
This is
driving the porcelain bus, isn't it? Yeah.
I was speaking to God on the porcelain telephone quite heavily. But
you're speaking to Ralph.
Yeah, I was speaking to the chuds that down on level 2.
Here's a surprise. No,
exactly. But anyway, we'll get to me in a minute. Go on, you go.
Indeed. And the other thing I've done this week is I've started listening, very much like Jim. I've started listening to a podcast called it's the Curious Cases of Rutherford and Fry.
They are brilliant.
That's fucking excellent. I love it. I love it. Now, the actual episode that drew me in was Kate Bush's Sonic Weapon. Right? Now, for anybody who doesn't know, the actual Rutherford and Fry, what they do is every week somebody will write in with a scientific question, right? And it can be about anything.
Yeah.
And this episode, the one that I started off on, was all about there's a track by Kate Bush called Experiment 4.
Yes.
And it's quite a dark, really quite a dark tune about a scientific body that works for the military who are charged with trying to make a sonic weapon based on the screams and the cries of women and children suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So, real happy sort of tune.
Yeah.
And they had to try and figure out whether you could actually make a sonic-based weapon from this. And they go and they do all sorts of research and whatever. And it's a heck load of fun. It really is. Really, really good. As you say, Lee, they're both brilliant, the pair of them.
Yeah, because he's a biologist and she's a mathematical physicist, theoretical physicist.
Yeah, she does. She's the associate professor in mathematics at the city's at University College London. And she applies mathematics to the behaviour of humans.
Yeah.
And trying to work that kind of thing
which
out.
sounds really dry, but the thing is, the really amusing thing is that Rutherford, Adam Rutherford, who's very good on Twitter, by the way, you should follow him on Twitter.
Oh, I will do then. In that
case, he's a complete geek. So every now and again, he tries to find some way of jamming, I don't know, a Marvel film or something into the discussion.
Well, actually, I was listening to. I've been burning through these episodes. Like I'm on, I started it on was it last Monday? I'm already on to season 4.
Oh right.
So yeah, I've just piled in these episodes.
Yeah.
And it was the episode called "The Hairy Hominid," which is why it's all about humans and the hair on their body, right? And why we've got patches of it and we're not completely flipping covered in the stuff. And there was he went for a waxing in that episode, right? So they did this, and they actually, because he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, it'll be no." And she's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
And he's, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. I'll do it. And so he's never had, he's never had a waxing before, right? So he walks into this waxing parlour, and he's on the table, and you hear the woman sort of sorting stuff out, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, that's hot."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, yeah, the wax has to be hot to do its job. Is it too hot?" He goes, "Well, no, it's not too hot, but it's just getting a little bit uncomfortable." And she rips the fucking hair out of his back, and he's like, "I can't swear on the podcast. I can't swear on the podcast."
Yeah, there are some moments like that where you're just like, "Oh my god!"
But linking to that, a few episodes down from that episode, he said to her, "You were right." He said to Hannah, "If you have this sort of thing done, the hair grows back thicker." Right? He said, "Because I looked at myself in the mirror and she went, 'You now look like Wolverine.' And he just came out with schnickety schnick." And I thought, you have to be a complete fucking geek to come out with that when somebody says Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, because there's another one where they actually talk about the powers of superheroes and what would need to be done in evolutionary biology to do all of that.
Right. That's
and
it. Yeah.
and she's absolutely not interested in it at all, and he's completely into I'm like, I don't know. I think he calls himself something like the human panda or something by the end of it. It was just.
I'm looking. I've actually got all the episodes listed here. I'm listening to them on Stitcher.
They are on BBC. They are all on BBC iPlayer and on iTunes as well.
Oh, they are. They're a fantastic pair. I love. It's my new sort of comfort listening.
The only thing I don't like about it is the cheesy fucking Curio of the Week jingle, which some bloke had just sent into them, and it's just the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. My toes curl every time oh right, okay. Well, some bloke decides to do it, and he just sends it in. He's done it on some kind of Bon Tempi organ, and they are obviously too polite to say, "Fuck off, it's rubbish."
Right.
because it's a bloody awful jingle, and it's just like, oh god, every time I have to sort of like skip 10 seconds just to stop listening to the bloody jingle because it's horrible.
Now I've got to know, right? Because I'm still way down the list of episodes, right? Even though I've listened to so many, there's like still loads to go. They are still producing.
Yeah, they
are the podcast.
Their last season finished. Their last season finished at the end of September, and they're coming
September 20th. That's right.
And then they're coming back in January.
Right, because I think I might have a question to send them. So,
go for it. Go for it.
Yes, I've got one.
No question is too stupid. There was a whole episode dedicated to poo at one point.
Yes,
Keeping it real.
There is.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Of course, there is. Why wouldn't there be?
Indeedy. Yes. By the way, did anybody know that there is a part of the brain called the hand knob? Because I do now.
Bassoon?
So that was what is it? The what the fucking episode was it? I think it was the Sinister Hand. That's it. Yes, the Sinister Hand, which is all about left and right-handed people, and like, you know, is there any truth as to the fact that if you're left-handed you're more creative and all this kind of thing? And they go right into depth about how the brain works, and there's a part of the brain called the hand knob. So there you go.
All night thinking about that, weren't they?
Yeah, that's
They
right.
were, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to call this, I don't know, the hand knob, right? Done, let's go home.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a problem. I shall be dealing with my hand knob. Cue Swanee whistle noise.
By the way, they almost influenced me in choosing a film for the next time, because they did a whole thing on what makes humans cry, right?
Okay.
And there's apparently a group of scientists who've done like this whole experiment. They've got a film that they give you. There's one particular film, and then you have to write down how you feel before it, during it, and after it. And it's the film starring Richard Gere about the dog that he buys, a Japanese dog that waits for him at the station.
No, fuck off.
And they make Adam Rutherford watch this film, and he's like crying. I was crying because of how bad it was.
Yeah, I think we're yeah. If you think for 1 second I'm going to watch that, we're back to your fucking dog last day on Earth video again.
We are.
You're just a sadist.
Right. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that anyway. I've got my films lined up.
Okay, that's good.
Already in the chamber.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Darren's actually planned an episode ahead of schedule.
2, actually.
2, nice.
There you are.
Just watch them disappear off of Amazon, where
exactly. Yeah,
they'll be
or
gone,
Netflix or anything like that, whatever service they're on.
They'll be gone. They'll be gone by the end of the week. Yep,
we certainly will.
Lovely.
But there you go. But
cool.
Yes, that's kind of my week.
That's it, is it?
Yeah.
Cool. Okie dokie. Well, in which case, my week. Oh, here we go. Start at the beginning. Well, my fortnight, when the Friday the Friday of the week when last we met, I got a text from one of Carol's friends' husband, and he's like a guy who works from home and all that kind of stuff, and you know he's missing the whole going out for drinks with workmates kind of thing. So I'm like, okay, fine. And he said, oh, we've met up before socially, but with, wives and families and all that kind of thing. And he just went, oh, do you fancy going to the pub on the Friday? And I'm like, you know what? Actually, let's do that. So we went to the pub, and it's like the first time I've been out sort of on my own to the pub for a long while. Anyway, so we're sort of just talking and drinking, and there was this like specialist beer behind the bar. And this guy was sort of saying, oh, you should try this, because we got talking to the barman because the bar was quite empty. And we were trying, okay, we'll have one or two of these. And then by the end of it, just to cut a long story short, because I've got a lot happen my week. Cut a long story short, you jump forward 4 hours, and me and him are dancing in this pub, and drinking tequila shots. And
that's good beer.
that was good beer. Yeah, and I was an absolute fucking state. And I got home, and as I got indoors, and I was so bad, I just fell asleep on the stairs. Then Carol came downstairs and said, "Lee, you've got to go to bed." So I crawled up the stairs, went into the toilet. Apparently, I was sick in there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh my word!
And then afterwards, I don't remember any of this. And then afterwards, what I did was I actually fell asleep on the landing of the stairs with my head against my daughter's bedroom door, so that if she came out, basically she would have brained me. And you know when you feel that sickness where even the smell of your own breath going into the ground and reflecting back in your face makes you want to vomit?
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I had. And then basically Carol said, "No, you've got to go into the bedroom." And apparently I got on the bed. She got me on the bed and said, "Get undressed, get into bed."
Hang on, where's this going?
No, she go, "Get undressed, get into bed." Trust me, mate. Nothing was rising after that much alcohol. It's just you couldn't
Except
even...
the bile and the stomach juices.
Yeah, the only
It's that, you know when you're just about to be sick and you get all that like liquid filling your mouth.
Yeah,
It's like oh no, here it comes.
Yeah, it's that sort of like queasy red alert noise that you get in the back of your head.
Shields.
Yeah. And apparently what happened was I got on the bed. I sat in the corner of bed. Carol went back to bed. She got me some water and some paracetamol. She got back into bed. And then she just heard... apparently I'd fallen off the bed, face down into the ground, with my shirt half off, my trousers half off around my ankles. And she just went and threw a pillow on me, and I just... lay there with a pillow on top of my head, my arse sticking up in the air, and my shirt sticking out for the rest of the evening. I mean, I must have looked like some sort of novelty avant-garde Art Deco bike stand. I mean, just this arse just stuck up in a pile of clothes and a pillow. And I was as sick as a dog for the whole of Saturday and the whole of Sunday. And then on Monday, we had to go to Prague.
Lovely.
And so we went to Prague. I mean, I'll cut a long story short with Prague, but it was very nice. But the one thing I'd insisted on this time round when we were planning the holiday was I didn't want to go on a plane if I could help it. And the reason was, I've got this irrational fear of planes. I hate being on a plane. And so I thought, let's try and have a holiday where I'm not sitting there worrying about it for 6 weeks leading up to it, about being on a plane for an hour and a half.
You didn't turn to George Pepper and go, "I ain't going on no plane."
What, you mean Mr. T?
Yeah. I ain't going on no plane.
Dang
And
fool.
then they handed him a hamburger.
Yeah.
and then he was
Where's
asleep.
my milk?
Yeah. Where's my milk with a bottle of Tramadol sitting right
Take
beside
my
it?
fast. My fan is fast, fool.
Yeah. My van could go right across the ocean. So Carol and I decided that what we could do is actually make more of an adventure of actually going there. And so what she planned was a train from King's Cross to Paris. Then we'd stay in Paris for like 2 hours for lunch.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we get a train from Paris to Zurich, and then we stay in Zurich for 2 hours and have dinner, and then we get an overnight train from Zurich all the way to Prague.
Right.
Which takes you past Mont Blanc and all those kind of massive mountain ranges, and you go on the train going through there. So the first leg was good, straight there, got to Paris, all cool, all chilled, no worries, got some dinner, sat there by the Lyon train station got a cup of coffee, got on the train, and then we got on this train to Zurich. Then I looked on the map and I thought, well, Zurich, that's actually further away than from London to Paris. Paris to Zurich is fucking enormous distance. How are we going to get... And then the train moved. Now, when I say it moved, what it did was it kind of wound up its warp nacelles and it just took off. I have never been on anything quite so fast that didn't have wings. This thing, they've got a speedo on the display. We were doing 300 kilometres an hour in a straight line.
Jesus
on this
Christ.
fucking train. I've never been so fast. I got up and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the loo now. You know, I'm kind of like, after I kind of calmed down after this kind of Star Trek The Next Generation opening sequence of ding, snap, and we're off into space. I sort of thought, oh, right, okay. Well, it's actually quite smooth. It's ridiculously smooth, in fact. You know, are we actually flying? No, we don't. So I go down the stairs because this train's double decker. And we go down the stairs, and I go to the loo. As I go to the loo, this thing went round the corner. Have you ever tried to stand up, take a wee at 300 kilometres an hour round a corner? I tell you what happens. It's a bit like holding a bowl of soup on a Wurlitzer. You basically ping-pong around inside a toilet while your willy basically flails about like a garden sprinkler, and you're like, oh my God. Because you're literally going left, right. Because the centre of gravity is a lot lower when you're at the bottom of the train doing 300k as opposed to on the top of the train just swaying gently in the breeze. I made an absolute fucking state of myself, and I'm like, and then you're sort of like, oh God, what have I done? And you're having to pull out all the tissue roll, and you have to try and mop it all up while the train's still doing this kind of what factor 5 kind
Dude, of thing. Have you never heard that song? That have you ever tried to take a shit on a train? That one.
No, but I will look it up. Well, I tell you. Next time, I'm going to do the decent thing and have a wee sitting down. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, just do it, man. just
swallow the pride.
Yeah,
and
just swallow it.
it.
Just sit down and go for a wee. It's safer, less medical bills involved.
Yeah, and less chances of some kind of infection if I haven't washed my hands and all the toilet properly.
Yep.
Anyway, so we get to Zurich and we have dinner, and that's quite cool. Okay, thanks, Jim.
Just found the train song for you.
Thank you. And so we get to Zurich, and we get off the train, and we go and have dinner in the station because we can't go too far. The nearest town to the station, it's just too far to get there, have dinner, and come back before the next train turns up.
Right.
So we get there, and Carol goes, "Oh, I know what I'm going to have." We go to this restaurant on the station, and she goes, "Oh, I'm going to have some Swiss meatloaf or whatever it is, wherever Zurich is." And so she asks for meatloaf. And what happens is, this is where we come across that whole thing of not quite realising what we are expecting versus what they are about to deliver. Because Google Translate is not my friend when it comes to pointing at a menu and going, oh, I think that says meatloaf. What she got was basically a tin of Spam about a foot across.
Oh.
And
right.
It was like fried, and it was about 3 inches thick, and it was like a solid, like, it wasn't meatloaf, it was just like, it was like meat. It was like someone had actually taken an entire cow and put it inside one of those car crushers and made it a sort of foot-long block with about a foot tall. And the guy was trying to tell us, he was trying to say, oh, you sharing? And I'm like, no, I'm having a sandwich. I'll have a cheese and pickle sandwich or something. And it's like, no, oh. And the guy just wandered off. And it's like, next thing you know, there's like 3 of us. There's me and Lisa and Carol all looking at this thing going, it's a monolith of meat on a plate. And then
You'll eat anything for love, but you won't eat that.
Yeah, and the fucking thing cost us nearly 35 quid.
What?
On its own, yeah. Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Because that's the other thing. Your brain's trying to translate into Swiss francs, and you're like, or Swiss krona or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Whatever it was, my brain wasn't really ready for the money conversion. And certainly when you sit down and ask for a slice of meatloaf, and something the size of a mini with horns sticking out of it turns up on your plate, you're like, yeah, I suppose it's going to cost a bit of money. Oh yes, it has. But the main thing was going to Zurich. Going to Prague. We get on the train. There's the sleeper coaches, right? And has anyone actually done a sleeper coach on a train?
No, I'd love to though.
Okay, right, fine. Well, we got on them, and I figured out something which I've never really thought about before, but actually now I think about it, I know why. You see, whenever you see films like Murder on the Orient Express or any James Bond movie where they're taking a sleeper car somewhere romantic and all this kind of thing, yeah, you notice they never really go in the sleeper car, do they? No. And the reason is this, because when you go in the sleeper car, what it is essentially it's like Tetris for humans. What you've got is you've got enough space to put two people in and have a 3 foot square around them. And then what happens is, if anybody wants to move, you have to have one person move into the corridor, another person move into the thing, another person sit on one of the beds, and you have to kind of shuffle them around. You know those slidey puzzles, those slidey tile puzzles.
Yeah.
Or that thought puzzle where you've got a boat, a farmer, a fox, a chicken, and some seed, and you have to take them over one at a time.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but you're trying to get your shoes off. So Lee can only get his shoes off if he sits on the bed. But if Carol is in the hallway and Lisa is on the bed above, okay, great, I can do that. But now Carol wants to take her shoes off, so Lee must now move off the bed into the hallway. Lisa must stay where she is. Carol must move in. She must take her shoes off. And it was just like this kind of constant shuffling about. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then my phone is telling me where we are, because every time we go into a new territory, it keeps coming up with EE. And it's like, ding, oh, you're going through a place called Brine or Brine. And it's like, okay, cool, lovely, that's interesting. And then it goes, oh, you're going into Liechtenstein. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, then it starts saying, oh, you're going up into the mountains. You're going into the foothills around the bottom of Mont Blanc and all this sort of thing. I was like, oh, great. Look out the window. Can't see a fucking thing. It's 9 o'clock at night. It's completely dark. Right? I cannot even see the floor outside of the train from my window with all the lights on. So, we all say goodnight. Thanks very much. All get on the beds. So, Carol's on the bottom bunk. I'm on the middle bunk. Lisa's on the top bunk. All lying there. Everyone goes to sleep. Now me, I've got my overactive imagination, haven't I? And the train is on the side of a mountain as far as I'm concerned. And we're on a double-decker train, and it's going very slowly round corners. And all it's doing all night is going left and right, wiggling left and right, left and right. The problem is I'm not tall enough to cover the bed. And so what happens is, as it goes right, I slide head first into the wall. So I go, it goes left. Zzz, and it's like, okay. And then it goes, go right. And I go, zzz, feet first into the glass window. I'm now sitting there thinking, any minute now there's going to be a news report of it going right and me hitting that window and sliding straight out and straight down the side of Mont Blanc.
And joining the train at the bottom there, just round the corner, straight back into the same bed again.
Exactly. Just slide straight out like some sort of like Jim Dale in Carry On Doctor. You just like slide down. And the train does that for nearly 12 hours.
Oh,
so
good Lord.
For 12 hours, it's zzz, zzz, go right, zzz, go left, zzz. I nearly ended up with fucking 4th degree. I ended up with concussion, mate. I really did. because I just couldn't stop myself from moving on this bed. Everyone else seemed to have no problem. I don't know whether my sheets weren't fixed down properly or I wasn't holding on properly or what, but I just...
Holding on properly. You're not supposed to hold on in the sleep.
Well, whatever it was, that's how it felt. I felt like I had to hold on. Zzz. Oh, God, we've gone left. Zzz.
Grip tighter with your buttocks.
Exactly. Oh, God, it's the window. It's the window. Please don't go right. There could be a 50-foot cliff down the side of it. Oh, my God. Anyway, so that goes on for 12 whole hours. We get off the train the next morning after having breakfast, and the breakfast on the train was nice. But you get off the train, and the problem is you've got sea legs now. You've been on moving vehicles for 24 hours with a stopover for a block of meat. And so the first day of going around Prague, both me, Carol, and Lisa were all just like, I feel sick. I feel so sick. I feel, oh God, sit us down. And it's like the floor's moving. Yes, it is moving. It's like all three of us were just sitting there in coffee shops, moving from coffee shop to coffee shop, going, oh, are you feeling all right yet? No, I'm still moving. Oh, the floor's still moving. Oh. So, yeah. So that was great. So we didn't get to see much of the sights until the second day of being in Prague, which was nice. And then we got a ghost tour, which was really quite fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was fun because what happened was it was clearly the lady was a historian.
Yeah.
And she had all these historical stories. But obviously the tour said that it was a ghost tour. And so every now and again she'd be like, and here 23 people were hung in the courtyard of this old plaza. And it's like, yeah. And
was she Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, she was. and then what she
Here I come to save the day.
Yes, exactly. I fix your taxi. Laka come from Czechoslovakia. And then every now and again you'd be looking at her, and then she'd go, oh, and their spirits are probably wandering around everything. It wouldn't matter what it was. It was like, and we're going to meet Franz Kafka's The Golem, and it's like, oh, okay. What the
actual Golem?
Yeah, no. Well, apparently there's a legend of the Golem, which was this creature that was magicked up by the Jewish community, and then when its owner died, it went on a rampage, sort of taking the protect the community too far. Yeah. And then they smashed it up and they built bits of it into all of the buildings around. And then you're like, okay, so we're going to meet the Golem? And she's like, oh yes, you will see Golem. And you go into this room, and no joking, there is a 1970s concrete figure, which I think is probably the most generous way of putting it. But it's like, if you can imagine making like Morph, but 6 foot tall, and just putting him in this kind of prone position, because he probably was sitting on a chair at one point, but the chair's been taken away for legal reasons.
So he's just squatting.
Yeah, he's just kind of resting on his arse like he's doing a rowboat or something. And he's just in a basement. And you're like, oh, all right then. And then she goes, if everyone could just wait here, I will be back just shortly. And then she goes out of this basement, and the lights go off, and it's supposed to make us all scared. But unfortunately, we are in the 21st century. So as soon as the lights all go off, 25 individual iPhone lights all come on, and it's actually brighter in the dungeon than when she turned the fucking lights on. And she comes out and she goes, oh, I thought you would be more scared than that. And it's like everyone's got a phone in their hand with the lights switched on. And it's like, no. And she goes, well, thank you for coming. Opens the door, kicks us all out, and that's it. It's like, oh, where are we? We're on the other side of Prague. I have no idea where the fuck we are. It's just like, oh, thanks for that. So, yeah, the Ghost and Legends tour was good. And we went to a castle. We went to the main castle and went to this tower. And the tower was supposed to have the best views of Prague. And it's like, okay, brilliant. And we go to this castle and we go to this tower. And you go on this tower, and it's a tiny, tiny little circular walkway, sort of spiral staircase, about a foot across, in a tight little turn. and it was 273 steps. Can you imagine how I felt after 273 steps with
Peak
tourists?
of health.
Yeah, with what? Sorry.
I said the peak of health.
The peak
That's
of
what you
health.
felt.
I got to the very top, and it was like, I'm going to die.
Iron lung, iron lung.
Air too thin. Yeah, but that was it. So, and then finally we did end up going home via plane, which was nothing but an internal stress for me because I just sat there while it went over 800 miles an hour and then started to rumble and bump, and everyone's going woo, and it's like, no, don't say woo. You don't say woo. You keep this thing in the sky by looking out the window and ensuring the wings remain on. So yeah, that was fun. But otherwise, it was a good holiday. That was my week. I was basically feeling like shit until about Wednesday, from Friday, because I went drink, hangover, motion sickness, holiday.
I honestly don't remember the last time I went into a pub in anger.
Well, really?
Yeah. I think it may have been a shindig.
You've said it again. You can't mention the shindigs.
Sorry.
Not 3 times.
Not 3 times. Not 3 times on the shindig if you want me. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, I don't... I mean, that was the first time I've done it in years. And, yeah, and it was hardcore, and I really wish I hadn't. It was such a bad move. I've not been that sick and ill for a very, very long time. So there you go. So I guess I'm teetotal until the next time, because that's always the way, isn't it? Never again. Ooh, pub. Anyway, so that was my week. I'll leave it there. I did watch some stuff, but I'll leave it until next week because I'm still watching it. It'll be still there on next week. Right. Anyway, that's that. So now it's time for a quick bit of feedback, which I promised earlier. We got a bit of feedback for the Block Island Sound episode, and it came from Peter Collins. Peter Collins writes to us at feedback@Black Dog Podcast to say, "Hello, Black Dog. I just wanted the feedback on Block Island Sound, as this is the first time I've been able to watch this movie before the next episode is out. Watching the small preview on Netflix, I feared Jim had picked a turd, as it just shows a guy in a car looking at a deer in a road and a wet old man saying, 'Deer!' in a creepy voice. Well, then when the movie starts, you get a conspiracy theory nut friend going on about mind control, and it feels all a bit heavy-handed on the subtext for what the movie was really about. But I'm glad it turned out better than initial expectations, and it turned into a slow-burn mystery that gradually revealed itself, and overall I liked it. However, I have my gripes. I feel it didn't really do enough with its premise, and its vagueness just makes you question it more as you pick holes in it, and then you have questions without answers, and but it still tries to give you vague answers. Trying to avoid spoilers, but when we see things taken, I was dreading this would turn into a Jordan Peele movie we have at home. I have a Jordan Peele movie. This is a Jordan Peele movie at home. But thankfully, it didn't turn out that way. However, when we did get the speech at the end, it didn't really do anything to justify or confirm that interpretation. It's just food for thought suggestion, really. Maybe it's not that bad, or maybe it's just trying to dunk on people to justify animal testing, but it doesn't really communicate anything. Rather than be shown what the thing was, I'd rather have seen the end results of what it was trying to do, be it something abominable and monstrous, or clearly benevolent, or maybe a mix of both. Overall, it was a good suggestion, and I'm not upset I watched it. P.S. Jordan Peele movie I mentioned is Nope, and I was fully expecting to see some flying jellyfish monster or something when everyone was being lifted into the air. Cheers, Pete Collins." There you go. Well, thank you very much for that, Pete. Yeah, I don't know if it would have made it worse if you'd seen the thing in the sky or got to work out what it was all about. I do take your point that you kind of left with more questions than answers, but yeah, it's a hard one, really. It's the Prometheus alien thing, isn't it? It's like if you explain too much, ruins it. If you don't explain enough, you're sitting there going, "Well, what was going on then?" And that's always a tricky line to walk. I thought personally Block Island Sound walked it quite well, but I do take your point. It is a bit of an odd one. It depends how you feel about sort of unresolved answers, really. But anyway, thank you for your feedback, Pete. And if anybody else wants to feedback on that episode or any of the other episodes we've done so far, or even the one we're about to do send it in to the email address, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or send it through on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Or if you would like to go on to the Elon Musk hellscape, you can find us on @Black Dog Podcast, whereby all humour apparently is legal until it's not. But there you go. Because, man who wants free speech doesn't allow free speech, has thin skin. There you go.
Yes, doesn't he just? Have you seen?
It's more like fucking cling film apart from thin skin. What?
Oh, it is. Yeah. He said that if you're gonna claim his name and whatever, and if you don't put parody next to the actual title, then he's going to ban you for life. And somebody posted, if only there was a way of actually verifying the person's name, that could, so you could be sure who it was.
If only there was that way, and if only I thought comedy was legal again, but apparently it's not now.
No,
because if you do parody, apparently you still get banned.
I love what's happening. I think it's brilliant. I didn't care for the guy at all before this, but now watching him, he's got something he didn't want, and he's fucking it up hard.
Yep.
I don't think he's intending to. I just think he's a dumb piece of shit.
Yes, absolutely.
He doesn't actually know what he's doing. He can't actually grasp what he's doing. He's doomed to fail. He's going to take an absolute tanning. I bet probably before the end of the year, he'll be fucking forced out.
He probably will.
Yeah, or he'll shut it down or whatever. But what's amusing to me on that front is it's like watching the billionaire version of someone drunk buying something on eBay, isn't it?
Very much so.
What did I order on Amazon?
Yeah, what the fuck have I bought? What?
So we're at the stage where delivery man's coming down the path with a 2.5 meter high bottle of chili, chuckling knowingly. He didn't read the size, did he?
I'm on the 14th floor of a block of flats. What do I need a pagoda for? What do I need a jet ski? I'm in landlocked. I'm in a landlocked Liechtenstein. Anyway. Yeah, I live in Sheffield. What do I need a fighter jet steering wheel for?
So you're telling me what I've done is I've bought a 24-episode set of farming encyclopedias in Mexican.
Yeah. It's like when your grandparents suddenly get hold of Amazon and they're using your account and then suddenly buy like 12 box sets of Big Bang Theory by an accident and you're paying for it. It's like, not that that's happened to me, honest gov. Or like some arsehole who goes and buys like a box for Starbird Intruder but never actually gets the Starbird itself.
Read the fine print.
Read the fine print.
Read the fine print.
Fine print.
It's like the genie from What We Do in the Shadows. No, you've got to be exact. You've got to be exactly what you wish for.
Precision is what's required here, sir.
Indeed.
Exactly. Anyway, so that's that. Right, so we'll leave it there. We'll wrap that up. If you got all the usual channels, if you want to send any feedback in. But for now, let's leave it there. And let's move on to our next section, which is to review this week's movie, which is X. Roll the jingle. And there we go. Yes, X is a 2022 film. A slasher film written and directed and produced and edited by Ty West. It stars Mia Goth, Jenny Ortega, Martin Henderson, Brittany Snow, Owen Campbell, Stephen Ure and Scott Mescudi, who also served as co-executive producer and lead porn star. The film's plot follows a cast and crew who gather together to make a pornographic film on an elderly couple's rural Texas property, but find themselves threatened by an unlikely killer. The film was made in New Zealand, primarily in the area of Fordell, and its score was by Tyler Bates and Chelsea Wolfe. And the film premiered on March 13th, 2022. So this is super recent by our standards. And it was released on March 18th, 2022 in the States. I will skip the reviews and what everyone else said. But it did have a budget of $1 million. That was it. $1 million for the budget. And how much do you think it made at the box office? Now, who wants to go first on this one? Because I'm sure everyone's got one queued up for this.
I haven't thought one yet. So
okay then, Jim, do you want to go first? What do you think it made?
I think it made 7 million inches.
Nice. Okay. What about you, Dal?
I think it made 22,000 bomb chicka wow wows.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Mm-hmm.
Right, nice. And Elton?
one fresh axe wound.
Nice. That works
On many
on
levels.
so many levels that I really don't.
Unfortunately.
Jesus Christ. Wow.
I'm so sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
You should be.
Nice. So we're going to go around the table, do the usual sort of top line. What do we think about it? And then we'll get into talking about it. It was my film, so I'll go last. And we'll start with you, Elton. Actually, no, hold on. Jim, did you say you've seen this film before?
Yes, I've seen this before. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, cool. So we'll go Elton first then. So, Elton.
Yeah.
What did you think of X?
I thought this was utter guff.
Right, okay.
I was bored during it. The only bit I can laugh at. Oh, maybe I'll leave that. But I thought I was bored all the way through it. Yeah. It just seemed it's one of the most pointless movies ever created. I don't see the point in it. Normally they have a story to tell, but this was just no. For me, there was nothing there. I know there's some sort of story of look, you get the entrapments of the porn industry and trying to escape and blah blah blah. No, I don't care. I don't care. No, load of crap. Utter shit.
Oh wow! Okay, tell us how you really feel.
Don't hold back, mate.
Yeah. What about you then, Dal? What did you think?
I thought it was all right.
I thought it was all right. It was quite an eye opener, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially with the
Quite a
pitchfork.
Yeah, indeed. And the silhouette of man standing naked in doorway. Yeah, you know, the Martian war machine that stood in the doorway.
Like a little tripod.
Yeah, that one. Him. Yes. Jesus Christ almighty. Yeah. I've got to admit, there were bits... it's a fucking strange film. I'll say that. But there was actually bits that I felt... one part where I felt quite sad watching it. We'll discuss that a bit more later on, really. But I think there was more of a point I don't know. It's very hard to explain.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, if you were given to just a thumbs up or thumbs down, where would you be?
I think it would be somewhere in between the thumb up and the thumb down. It would be a pointed towards the chest, I think.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Jim, what about you, sir?
This is my second time of watching it. So I really enjoy this movie. I think there's a lot of layers to it. And I don't know, it's just... I think it has a lot to say about kind of sexuality and age, and I don't know, there's just something kind of gets under my skin about it and the atmosphere. And as Darren said, there is bits of kind of like quite melancholy and sad. And I think it's just a very, very interesting movie, and I just really just dug the way it was shot. It was very much kind of trying to capture that kind of 70s, early 70s horror movie look, but actually done with proper equipment rather than grimy, grainy cameras.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting movie. And I say this is part of, it's going to be 3. Not such a trilogy, but more of like a triptych. And I have seen the other one, Pearl. You have? Yes. And that's a very different kettle of fish.
I can imagine.
I'm intrigued to see what the third one's going to do.
Well, the third one,
the 80s.
I was going to say, is called Maxine with 3 X's. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. For me, I'm going to be honest. I started off thinking, oh, this is just going to be homage after homage after homage. You know, here's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, here's Psycho, here's a bit of, here's a bit of every 70s porn movie that wanted to make itself more important than it was. Sort of your Debbie Dallas and all that kind of stuff. And by the end of it, I really enjoyed it. I was quite on the other side of what Elton was thinking. I know where Elton's coming from, because I was just kind of thinking, are we just going for nothing but pointless rehashes and silly tits and arse kind of psycho slasher stuff? But there was definitely something going on underneath, and I thought, actually, by the end of it, and I get the whole feeling sad thing as well. I totally get it. Like I say, it was a movie that I started off quite in the negative, and by the time I got to the end, I was in quite the positive. And I've got to say, I thought the soundtrack fucking rocked. The needle drops,
brilliant,
so
brilliant
many good tracks. But anyway, yeah. So overall, for me, it would be a quite big thumbs up. I mean, if you'd asked me like 10 minutes from the start, I'd probably been like, okay, let's see where this is going. But by the end, I was like, no, I'm quite into this. I'm quite digging it. So there you go. So quite a mixed bag of opinions there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying it like that because what I'm going to do now is obviously do the spoiler warning, because we are going to go forward and we're going to talk about this film, and probably, as ever, the less you know, the better you'll enjoy it. Or not, if you're Elton. And you know what? I wouldn't. I'm not dismissing you not liking it either. Like I say, I was right on board with that until like about midway through. But yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a spoiler from here. If we're going forward, if you're still listening and you don't care about spoilers, then stay listening. If you've seen the film, stay listening. But if you haven't seen the film and you do care about spoilers, then stop right here. Okay, I think that's a big enough warning, isn't it? So let's get started. So, I mean, it is. Is it okay? I'm gonna go straight to you, Elton, because I know you've got the strongest reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure this is kind of where our chat might go. But what was it? Was it just the fact that it was a slasher movie, or it was boring, or what? And I'm only asking because I just want to use that as a launching point because I have really nothing to discuss beyond going, I like this bit and I like that bit.
I think there are a few reasons why I didn't like this. Mm-hmm. And I get the aspect of them going off to make some movies. Yeah, that's all well and good. But it just seemed to drag a little bit too much because in 70s and 80s, you had the gratuitous shots, didn't you? You did it just to get some tits and arse on the screen. And it felt like it wanted to do that for the same reasons because that's what it's kind of homaging.
Right.
But,
well, no, it's more doing 70s, and 70s movies are a lot slower.
Right, okay. Well, there you go. I'm learning already. I love this movie. It's brilliant. No. It just felt as if it was plodding way too much for me. And you had the tits and arse shots, which, I don't know. I think I got bored of that. It was just too much. I was bored of it, and I was waiting for something to happen. Come on, let's move on a little bit. And then when we did move on, and the way that it did progress, it was the slow shuffling zombie type movie where you're like, well, they're not scary. Just shuffle to the left a little bit, and you don't get caught. But I understand how you get caught in this. You're caught unawares. But I found it so frustrating, so frustrating. It felt like a slow shuffling zombie movie, which was just, well, what are you going to do? You just lock your door, don't you? You just stay away from them. It's really easy to live in the post-apocalyptic world where you got shuffling zombies around because you see them from a mile off. You just don't go over there. Don't go in that field. You won't get bitten. You're fine. Put a little fence around them.
See that comes from a perspective of an audience member, isn't it? You're viewing it with the God's eye view.
Yeah.
That you know what they don't.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
So the whole being caught unawares. I mean, like was it RJ, the geezer who was like going to hot foot it out the door and then sees the old lady. She's standing there in the doorway, and the music's playing "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, I know. As soon as you hear that, you're like, okay, something, and you can't see a hand. That was the thing. I heard the song. He got out the car, and you can't see a hand, and you're like, it's all telegraphed. It's all written there, ready to go, and I'm like, well, okay, do something. And it's supposed to be scary or shocking that he gets stabbed in the neck, and you're like, well, no, I saw that coming a mile off. There was no excitement there. And I felt very frustrated. The only thing I did absolutely piss my pants on.
Yeah, so
sorry, what was that?
I said much like Pearl. She was very frustrated.
Right, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right, don't worry.
The thing I absolutely pissed my pants on is when you had that moment when the old lady came out the room absolutely stark as naked, as if like she was going to the toilet in the middle of the night. Just ran past that woman. That was the only fun I had out of it. I'm trying to work who was the actual old lady in it though.
Well, the lady who played the old lady was also the person who played the main character.
Yeah. Mia Goth.
Oh, did she play? I thought it was the other blonde lady playing it.
No.
She plays Pearl in the
movie
next
Pearl.
film. Yeah.
Right.
So so that was why that was the kind of other bit, which was kind of like that she recognized something in herself. There was a youth standing in front of her.
Look, if it was a time travel movie, I'd be all over this, but it's not. You could have done that time travel thing with it, but I thought it wasn't Lorraine, Bobby Lynn. I thought it was the lady Brittany Snow playing Bobby Lynn. I thought she was playing the old lady in it.
No, she wasn't. It was
Okay.
It was Mia Goth who was playing it. So yeah. So I mean, the thing is, and maybe this is a bigger question to all of us. Do you think it was supposed to be scary, or was it supposed to just be a homage to a 70s slasher movie?
I don't think it's either.
No?
No, because, I mean, slasher movies, like, let's pin this down, they're the 80s. Let's get that out of the way now.
Right.
70s horror, we're talking The Exorcist, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Last House on the Left, films that aren't full of jump scares, aren't necessarily full of gore, but they're kind of slow burning, sort of twisted and skeevy, and sort of burrow into your head slowly sort of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this isn't going for that slasher vibe. It's not trying to do sort of all the conventions of the slasher film. It's going for something else. I say I don't think it's trying to be scary. I think it's setting you up to expect that to an extent, but then it's sort of putting this other stuff in there that makes you sort of go, ew. And there's like, there's these bits that are kind of gross about being old and frustrated and unable to do stuff, and also just kind of a lot of sort of the melancholy as well, and that's kind of what I liked about it, that it isn't just the usual teens go to the woods and bad shit happens. Bad shit does happen, but there's more going on. It's more character driven.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was going to say that there's more to the whole sort of flaunting of age and showing that being old is a curse in itself, and that's also something, that's the true horror of it all, that you sort of lose relevance and you lose all these things that you previously took for granted, when you were young. And that, and it gets summed up by Bobby Lim, which is, you become too old to fuck, or whatever it is she said, to put it bluntly, but but it kind of underlines the whole thing. It's that kind of, that's the point of the entire film, is that, will you feel jealous of the people who can do what you cannot do because you are old, whether or not it's sex or anything. It's just like, you're looking at the younger generation and going, oh, for fuck's sake, why them? I can't do this anymore.
I think I have that now. So that's life, though.
Yeah, but that, just because it's life doesn't mean to say it's fair, and that's and whether or not you should just be happy to just sit in the corner and rot away now that you've spawned. There, go lie in the death pool and just lie there for a while.
No, you shouldn't. But
there's your chair. There's the bargain hunt reruns. Now shut up.
Yeah, shut up and sit down and just eat your oatmeal and dribble bean juice down your chin.
You shouldn't know. It shouldn't be like that. But you should also be realistic and accept what's happened. Life moves on. Time moves on.
People ain't good at accepting things, though, are they?
No. What do you think about that, Dal? I mean, you as one of the slightly more mature members of the group.
Fuck off.
People just don't accept things, do they?
No, they just don't accept things. Yeah.
You're such a twat. Right, okay. Cheeky bastard. Oh, I'll tell you, next time I see you, I'm kicking your fucking walking stick away. I really am. What do I think?
Why did I come in this room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do get that. I have those senior modes. Yeah, where, why did I pick this up?
Yeah.
What was I thinking 2 seconds ago?
Why did they put the peanut butter in the fridge and the butter in the oven?
Why is the lotion in the basket?
Can you smell wee? I can smell wee. Anyway, sorry, Dal, carry on.
That's all right, no problem. Right, yeah, where that sort of thing is concerned. This is the bit that I found the sad part of the film, is where Pearl is sitting there by herself and she's... you could just... It's just... You just see the sadness, you know. I know she's like this fucking psychotic killer in the end, but it's a whole thing of feeling like she's not wanted. And she's still, you know, she's still existing, she's still alive, but she's got a husband who doesn't want to do anything because he's frightened his heart's going to give out on him. Yeah. And it's that whole thing of being in that marriage for so long, not having anyone else. But, yeah, and just not feeling that affection. And that's what really got to me, was watching that bit.
Yeah.
And it's that just incredibly sad.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? That's it's kind of almost like if someone hadn't rejected her, you know, if RJ hadn't rejected her, and I know that's obviously a bit of a kind of vibe, but the point is that it was almost like it's one too many, one too far, you know, and it's kind of like it's basically saying right into your face that you're no good.
Yeah, that's it. You are past it. You're not wanted. You are. You've. You know, your looks are not what they once were. And yeah, that, of course, all this probably wouldn't have happened had her husband actually gone ahead and, you know, done what he did earlier. Because you hear at the end of the film where he's like, so let's get back to the girl in the basement. She's like, no, we don't need her anymore. We've got us.
Yeah.
So
and that's the key, isn't it? The whole thing is almost like a psychotic episode brought on by sexual frustration and loneliness.
Yeah,
rather than you know, which is kind of like interesting, if somewhat weird, but it's interesting because it is that whole thing of what do you do to get noticed? What do you do to get some kind of thrill and understand and feeling that something else is happening in your life? Because I mean, you know, if you're just sitting in a house listening to evangelical screaming out of a TV 24/7, and your husband's just wandering around and doesn't let you out the house, I mean,
you know, there was something else as well that which was quite interesting that it made a point of. They went on about how, you know, when the lead character, sorry, I've forgotten her name, Mia Goth's character,
Maxine.
When no, not Maxine, sorry, it's the one, the sound girl,
the Jenny Ortega church mouse.
Yeah, Jenny Ortega, that's it. When she's asking about everything, and they just say, well, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, we're all you know, we've got our own couples here, but when the camera's rolling, it means nothing. That's it. And it's that whole thing of the cameraman, the director of photography there, is standing there agreeing with them, but then it's brought home to him when it starts affecting him personally. Like his girlfriend wants to basically, you know, jump on the bed, get involved with this film, and, you know, have sex with this complete stranger. I mean, might as well be. And it's how it's brought home to him, you know, whereas he had that opinion that this wasn't affecting, and it was just like, yeah, I'm with the guys here. Suddenly, his girlfriend is saying, come on in, let me in the film, let me do what needs to be done.
Well, again, it's another theme that's running throughout the whole thing, which is kind of like, you know, what's more important, sex or relationships, and if you can treat one casually, then does the other one matter? Because that director cameraman he's just up for trying to make some kind of art film.
Yes.
And he's trying to be all like, yeah, I'm down, Daddy-O. And then all of a sudden it's like, when it comes home to him, he's like, oh, hang on.
Not cool at all.
It's not
no,
cool
you're not doing that.
No, you're not
I think
doing
playtime is over.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas on the other, and the young guys, the young couples are all sort of at it like fucking rats up drain pipes. And then there's Pearl sitting there who wants it just once. Whereas all these other ones are just throwing it about and not really caring about it. And there's a kind of sort of weird mirroring going on there, which happened a couple of times in the camera work, with this kind of mirroring of kind of, this doesn't matter, but it does to someone else,
Yes.
And, this isn't important to you, but it is to them, And then it comes right down to the actual group, where it's sort of like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just sex, yeah, it's just fun, we can all be fun, and everyone's going like, don't be a prude, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, actually, hang on, what? Yeah, no, suddenly it's like, oh, actually, it's come home. I suddenly realised that actually I am a prude, and I would rather you didn't sleep with the well-hung chap over there who's already worked his way through the rest of the female cast. Thanks very much.
Yeah, cheers for that.
He gets very judgy all of a sudden, doesn't he? And he's very rude about his fellow professionals.
Yeah,
and I think when you get to this stage in this film, I thought what's really interesting is that normally in this sort of movie, you don't have much sympathy for the characters, but they actually did flesh them out as real people with real emotions and real thoughts and feelings. And even that the older guy who's in charge of it all, I really like that scene where he says, "You come outside and I'll give you some advice." He says, I've been 22, but you've not been 43, so you listen to me.
Yeah.
He said, if you tell her no, she ain't going to listen. This isn't going to end well.
Yeah, she's going to do it anyway.
Yeah, and he's I like the fact that he was a rounded character. He wasn't just a sleaze bag. That he actually did talk a lot of sense, and he is kind of, almost sort of, look, you're a young fella, calm down, because you'll blow this otherwise, you will lose her. And,
exactly.
That's kind of nice, and that I think gives the deaths more kind of like, oh fuck.
Yeah, as he walks around on the in the barn in his little tighty whities.
Yeah, what I call a fearless performance.
Yes. Yeah. It's a real balls out kind of move. Yeah, ballsy move.
Arthur was pants.
Hey. Sorry, Elton, you were going to say something earlier on.
Yeah,
It's all right.
Do I need, and this is me being really, really slow, I do apologise.
To watch porn, yes. Sorry, just helping. I thought I'd just cut to the chase. Go on.
Do I need to watch Pearl before I watch this?
No.
No, they very much sort of stand alone.
Right.
Pearl isn't a prequel, but it is about the character as she's growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes place, she's not long married, but her husband is effectively away for the movie because it's the First World War, and she doesn't know if he's coming back, and she's on this farm, and she's bored, and her parents are not great. Well, her dad's an invalid, and her mum is very strict, and it's a very different kind of film. It's very much a character piece, and it's filmed very much like Golden Age Hollywood. It's that glorious Technicolor and panoramic shots, and a lot of it's a young girl kind of, just looking for a bit of life.
Mm-hmm.
And, kind of, it's not, as things go on, time going, you realise there are things maybe a bit more seriously wrong. But again, it's very character driven. I wouldn't really categorise it as it's not your conventional horror film. I think it does build up to an ending, which I thought was like, fucking hell.
Right.
There's a final shot, and that was just kind of like, whoa, that's interesting, and bizarre and just like ballsy. But it's so kind of on point. This kind of like, it's about a farm girl in the Midwest. There's lots of sort of references to like the Wizard of Oz, and she's obsessed with silent movies and wants to go off and be a film star. So there's kind of sort of parallels that make sense in X when that's her backstory, but they're not really. It's not really a prequel. You can watch one or the other.
It's not
probably in either order, I think.
Yeah, and it's not it's not an actual high budget remake of The Farmer's Daughter, which was currently being filmed in X.
No.
Though it does sound like that.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
you don't need to watch Pearl because Pearl only just come out. So
That's still a 2022 movie as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that. That's actually more recent than X, to be honest. So
yeah,
I wouldn't worry about it. But
okay, I just didn't.
I don't think it'll help your appreciation of this movie. If you don't like it, then that's perfectly cool. But it's just I don't think watching Pearl will help.
No, I think I was watching this and just realising even if there was a moment where I went, aha, really? I still don't think I'd really like this. I don't think there was anything there for me to really enjoy it. It just felt, well, I keep ragging on it, don't I? But
no, it's all right. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No,
Blimey, rag on it.
Didn't get on with it. I'm annoyed that I didn't get. I was looking forward to it. I've heard good things about it. It's A24 as well. They normally knock out a pretty good movie as well, don't they? So,
oh yeah,
I was saving it as well. I was really looking forward to it. Sitting down with it last night, and I was sat there going, right, waiting for something to really catch my attention. Because sometimes that is the key to getting into a movie that you're really struggling with. You wait for that moment that catches your attention, and then you can appreciate the stuff you've seen before it. But I didn't have that moment.
Can I ask a question? And this isn't meant to be a ding on you, but it's like those kind of American Gothic horrors, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like Last House on the Left. Have you seen those? And if you have, what ones did you like them? The old 70s horrors.
I think I've only seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I absolutely adore that.
Right. Okay. No, I was just wondering because the film is so heavily referencing those kind of films from like I say, Last House on the Left was the one that came straight to mind when I was watching it, and then like I say, then there's the sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, creepy old house, and to a lesser degree, a sort of remake of the remake of Hills Have Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, where again it's like unlike the original, where it's like just all random mutants. It's just like there's a sort of old town, sort of again which people just randomly walk to and horrible things happen.
People need to stop going to these places.
Well, yeah, but if they did, there would be no movie. I mean,
turn left here. Okay,
yeah.
The end.
What about you, Dal? I mean, you've seen some of these movies. How do you think it compared to some of those? Was it too much reference or not enough? Because, like I say, that was the bit that was threatening to push me over the edge and go, oh, I'm not sure I dig this if it's just going to be constant copying of the originals, if you know what I mean.
Well, it did put me in mind of like Grindhouse, that kind of thing. When I saw the trailer, I thought, is that what it's going to be? It turns out to be something slightly different from that. But yeah, it's reminiscent of things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The actual beats and the way it plays out, which is basically stupid people doing stupid things. Because that's, nobody, that you have to have that in a horror movie at some point just to keep the actual thing going. Because if people were sensible, then I don't think the films wouldn't be half as long as they are.
No.
So, yeah. there you go. So, it is reminiscent of things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and let's see what else. I didn't really see that many of those during the late sort of growing up in the 70s and stuff like that. You know, I remember seeing the sort of 70s films I saw were things like Christopher Lee as Dracula and, you know, fucking posters of that on my wall and whatever. Yeah.
Right.
So this sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not really a thing back then for me.
Okay. And I mean, I know you've already brought it up once, Jim, but I mean, how did you feel about the whole homage thing? You know, every shot seemed to be sort of referencing something.
Well, the thing is, a lot of this is fairly sort of generic, and I think the key is it was going to get the sort of the vibe and the look of that sort of grindhouse exploitation era, but it wasn't just doing a J.J. Abrams and, like, you know, cut, copy, paste scene, cut, copy, paste scene, cut, copy, paste scene. It had its own story to tell, its own characters, and the setup is kind of it's similar to a great many horror films, ones that are still being made today.
Yeah, but
I think it puts enough clear blue water, admittedly full of gators, between that and what's gone before. You know what I mean? Because the first time I watched it, I thought, we couldn't get some fucking wrong turn, cabin fever sort of bullshit. You know what I mean? And because it went on, I was like, you know, this is doing something different. It's a bit more sort of thoughtful, and it's aiming for something entirely different. And, you know, as the film went on, it was kind of like, okay, all right, we're going there. Oh, well, we're going there. Okay. And that was sort of genuinely surprising. I mean, I think what this does is, as we touched on before, it sets up the whole thing as kind of everyone who dies does so in complete ignorance that anything else bad has happened.
Yes.
They have no idea what they're dealing with. And to be honest, actually, we don't know what we're entirely dealing with until the final reel anyway, when you realise they've been doing this quite a while on this farm.
Yes, the poor gent down in the basement.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of that's sort of good writing where, you know, actually, you know, a lot of the time, like with the blonde lady's name I forgot, but, you know, also, you know,
Brittany Snow. Yeah.
You know, our lead guy, he's an ex-Marine. He's a really cool dude. He plays guitar. You know, he says, like, Pops, I'm an ex-Marine. If your wife's lost, I will find her. You know, once Marine, always Marine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You think, what a nice guy. Bollocks.
Yeah.
He's going to die, isn't he?
Yeah.
His old cunt's going to kill him.
Yeah, he's going to get lulled into a full sense of security and wallop. In fact, I will be honest with you. I thought he was the one who's going to get done by by Pavlov's Chekhov's crocodile. Yeah,
Chekhov's crocodile.
Because as soon as I saw that crocodile or that alligator and it didn't get me a goth, I thought, right, okay, they've let us know it's there. They've let us know it's hungry. So who's going to get done? And then when he goes, he sees that part the lake and sees the light in the lake. I thought, it's him. You're off. Goodbye. You are alligator chow.
Well, that was the tease, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the unexpected tease. You're supposed to think, oh, this is going to happen, and it doesn't. That's the shock. And then when it does happen, it was the Samuel L. Jackson and Deep Blue Sea moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because she was pushed in and she came out and hardly had time to draw breath, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, blah, 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 gobble, gobble, gobble.
No. Yeah, I have to say, I thought that a lot of this was actually quite funny. A lot of it was, there was a lot of sort of really dark humour in it, especially
Yes, definitely.
Especially
when you realise it's kind of, they've been doing this that long. This is why the crocodile, if it gets wind that someone's on that jetty, it's coming up because it knows it's feeding time.
Yeah, it knows it's dinner. Yeah. It's just like, oh my god, yeah. Sort of, yeah.
It's
Don't.
like feeding the pigeons in the park.
That's right. They know it. They know what they need to. They know where they need to be. And it's just like, oh wow. And then even the last line from the sheriff. What's going on in here? I don't know, but it must have been some fucked up horror film. It's like, and but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I have to say also I like the and I hate using this phrase because it just relates to a totally different film, but it subverted the old expectations with Jenny Ortega's character running out the door.
Where she gets blasted.
Yeah, she goes, I hate you, I'm good at wish I never there, and then sort of runs out the door, and you think, okay, she's going to run off and take the car, and it's just like all of a sudden it's like bang, and you're like, oh, all right then, that's that then. That's cool.
I don't know.
It just made me laugh.
It was telegraphed though, wasn't it? Many times.
Oh yeah,
because you had that scene where she was let out, and all you're thinking of is be quiet.
Oh yeah.
The Maxine character should be like, shh, we're out of here now. Be quiet. And she's like at the top of her voice, and you're like, shut the fuck up. And you think, well, someone's going to come around and axe you right in the face. We all know this. You're going to run round the corner, and you're going to get caught round the corner. It's going to be proper Jackass style, where the big hand with all the foam comes in and smacks you round the face. And there was 4 or 5 shots where she went round a corner in that scene where you was waiting for it to happen. So you knew it was going to happen, but you were just waiting for when will it happen? When will it happen? Do they do it? Is it like the rule of 3 where you do it 3 times and then you think, okay, well then it can't be happening, and then they throw it at you. It's like the rule of 3 with the jokes as well. You tell the jokes 3 times, it works. Any more than that, it doesn't work until you tell it 10 times, and then it starts to work again. And for me, I think with this, it was doing it too many times for me to appreciate it. You'd already lost it. If she'd got clobbered immediately, that would have worked. Because she was just gobbing off. But she didn't. She went round the corner, and her mate was like, start chasing her in. You think, you're in a house with wooden floors. You're making an absolute racket. You just want to get out of there. And it was too telegraphed for me. I'm really disappointed with it.
Interesting. I mean, I get it, because that's usually the sort of thing which winds me up something rotten, where you're sitting there going, yes, there's a big fucking sign over here that says you are going to die in 3, 2, 1. You know, the camera's moved 4 foot to the left, looking at nothing in particular. But I don't know why, but it just didn't do that to me. I don't know if it's not necessarily invested, but I was kind of like, I don't know, maybe I was just too busy thinking, oh God, the old people are bumping uglies in the other room, so they won't be out for a while, if nothing else, because they can't even get out of bed. Let them walk across an entire field and bring a shotgun with them after that. I mean, you know, give the guy a break. No wonder he had a fucking heart attack. But yeah, I don't know. I found myself forgiving it for something that normally I would be honest with you, that normally I'd be like, oh, for goodness sake. It's right there. It's not scary at all. But then I wasn't looking at the film as being scary. By the time it got to the sort of like, I just want to be loved, and it's like my heart can't take it. And it's like, yeah.
Are we supposed to be repulsed with the olds getting it off?
I don't think he's drawing that line. It's actually saying, well, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Because it knows very well a lot of young people will be like, oh, gross.
Right.
Is that right? Is that fair? Is that reasonable?
Yeah. I think
that's kind of the questions it's asking about, because it's all about attitude to sexuality. And youth and age. This is note, especially watching it a second time, I noticed that comes up again and again in the conversations. And that is what it's about. And it is kind of, you know, the younger you are, I think, you know, you are kind of, you dread getting old. And old, if you're very young, I mean, a lot of young people are very frightened of old people because they're, you know, wrinkly and withered and look scary.
Yeah. And vice versa as well, because they're young and vibrant and do things and threatening, and weird and random and doesn't make sense. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? I don't think you were supposed. I think you were supposed to sort of be. Well, it depends where you fall on the spectrum, but I think you were either supposed to sit there and be repulsed, or sit there and go, "Oh, this is coming to me. It's going to happen to me." And then you got horror of that as well.
I thought it was asking, is this gross? Or maybe not even asking the question. I think it was more saying, well, this is the other end of the scale, where you've had all these beautiful people having sex right in front of your face with all this beautiful skin and perfectly toned and looking amazing on screen. And then you have these two people in prosthetics, very, very rubbery, rubbing up against each other. It just felt like an obvious question to ask.
Yeah, but then it's an obvious question to ask, but does anyone bother to answer it is probably another question, because it's back
There's
to
not many films that would show you that.
No. There aren't
it was
many.
a bit of a first, to be honest.
Because that's the kind of the question, isn't it? It's that it is that question. You know, what's the difference between you sitting there going, "God, show me more," when you're seeing Brittany Snow getting done up the arse by the other bloke, you know, muscly bloke, and you're saying, "Oh, you know, I need to," you know, makes you the voyeur and sitting there going, "Well, yep." And then Jenny Ortega in her little tighty whities jumping all over him again, and you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden it cuts away, and you're like, you know, I don't think it's worth sort of, you know, skipping around the issue, but you're kind of are you slightly disappointed that you didn't get to see more? That's a question. And then it's like, well, okay, then how about seeing more now, but it's two old people?
Yeah.
And you're like, ugh. But that's the problem, isn't it? 1 minute you're going, ugh, but then 5 minutes earlier you were going, show me more, show me more. And it's
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. I don't think I was getting the right reaction from this movie.
That's fine.
I don't think I was getting the obligatory reaction that this film required.
Well, here's a question, and I know it's going to sound awkward and odd, but did you mind watching the olds compared to the young uns doing it?
Do you know, I was pretty. This is going to sound shit now. I was pretty bored with all of it.
Okay.
Because it all the stuff at the very beginning felt. If there was like one scene where they were just doing all the filming, but no, it carried on and it carried on and it carried on and it wouldn't stop. And I think we're up to about an hour before we actually start getting into the movie rolling on. And you're just showing this in my head just for showing its sake. You can set a scene within the first 10 minutes, but it kept setting that same scene. It kept showing you the same sort of stuff. Having sex with one person is like having sex with another person. I know you have that interlaced thing where you had the relationships of, well, it doesn't matter. I can split off from love life and real life and work life. But I don't know. I felt it's too easy to ask them questions in that situation. But then when you get to the olds having the sex, I was just sat there going, well, okay, am I supposed to be repulsed to this? The obvious answer to that question is, yeah, you're supposed to be repulsed at this, and then you're supposed to look at yourself and go, well, why is that different? And I was like, well...
what were you thinking then, Dal? Go on.
I'm thinking that you're looking at it from a lust angle, and it's not a lust thing. That the two old people having sex, it's not that at all. There's something quite. I know this is going to sound bizarre, right? Okay, but stick with me on this. There is something quite sweet about what happened between the pair of them there. It's almost as if they've suddenly rediscovered something about their relationship, how they feel about one another. It's as if, I don't know. It's being with someone for that long, having this block between them, this thing of not having this intimacy, and then finally they get it. And it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a hopeful thing.
Right.
That it's not the, where she thought this would be the end, so did he. This opens back up for them again. As she says at the end, we don't need anybody else. We've got ourselves.
Well, so he finally faced his fear. Has kind of created this situation that's been going on for however long.
Yeah. And you can see he actually does love his wife. It's that it brings that realization comes to the fore with that, and it is quite this is why this is such a strange film, I think, because it on the surface it's supposed to be one of these slasher movies, very sort of straightforward, but then it comes along with stuff like this and it asks questions, and it presents you with the things that you don't want to look at. And I'm not talking about them two getting naked. It's the whole thing of, for some people, this is what it's like getting near the end of their lives. In relationships, this is what happens. It's not, there's no passion there. There's no, I don't know, with some people, it's just existence. It's not living, it's just existing. That's what it becomes in there. And this is what this is when we find these two, this old couple. This is what they're doing there. They're mainly just existing.
I agree. I mean, okay, sex is the thing that's obviously being referenced here, but that's not necessarily just the only thing in which this situation applies. I'm sure all of us at some point are sort of looking at things that they used to enjoy, used to do without thinking about it and going, oh yeah, I used to love doing this. I always do this. And then you realise you haven't done whatever it is for so long that part of your body or that part of your brain is atrophied.
You know what I mean? It's the oldest swinger in town when it takes you all night to do what you used to do all night.
Yeah.
That.
Well, it is. I mean, it's,
Well, I think there's more questions of, a lot of it's about sex and sexuality, but I would actually say there's an awful lot about intimacy and the emotional side of it. And because there's all sorts of parallels. How does that guy feel about his wife doing things with bloke he's captured and stuck in the cellar because he's so shit scared of loving her, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's really just. I think it's such an interesting movie with just so many, I don't know. I always like movies that give me something I've not seen before, and takes you places where I didn't think I was going to end up here, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a wholly new neighborhood I didn't think was here.
Yeah. I mean, I will admit that I will admit that the film sort of takes you to a weird place. The only thing if I had a criticism of it is that I don't think it goes far enough. It's almost like, how can I put it? It's like it's a bit like the was it Nicolas Cage, that Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a film that on paper you go, oh wow, okay, this is going to be crazy go nuts, and it is crazy go nuts, and it is funny, but you kind of always sitting there wishing it would go a little bit more nuts. And in the case of this one, in the case of X, you're sitting there going, okay, so it's going to explore intimacy, or it's going to explore the slasher genre, and how it used to sort of do parallels. So a bit like the old 50s sci-fi movies, kind of reflecting McCarthyism or whatever, or the 80s horror movies reflecting the fear of AIDS. There was always a thing in a horror movie that was reflecting the times, and I'm sort of like thinking, okay, so X is reflecting sort of like the idea of intimacy, age, growing up, becoming irrelevant in the eyes of the world and people around you, and all this sort of thing. And every time it goes back to the couple and tries to explore that, suddenly, somewhere along the line, I think the director or someone in the film suddenly goes, "Yeah, we've got to actually have a bit of the slasher stuff back in." And it comes back out and it goes, "Oh, right, okay, I'm going to blow this person up, or I'm going to shoot this person in the face, or I'm going to break this person's fingers." And it's kind of, and sometimes that intimacy side of things and the age subtext and everything kind of gets sort of almost swept to a certain point in the film. It kind of, and here we go. Now we're going to discuss it. And I was just kind of, that was, if there was any criticism I had of the film, that was it. It was kind of like, I really wish that almost felt like the meat on the bones, and that could have been there could have been a bit more of that scattered throughout the film. But that's just me. I mean, I'm not going to tell a man how to make his film, but to me, that was the most interesting part of the film, and it was the bit that kind of didn't quite get sort of fully explored as much as I think it could have done. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a good time with it anyway. I thought there was a lot in it that was really interesting. Okay, here's a question: do you think Mia Goth's character is going to get caught because of that camera?
Maybe that's what the next film's about.
Yeah, I only ask because it suddenly occurred to me watching it that she walks out and she's the only survivor of an entire, murder site, and she's the only one on camera who's still alive because they will identify all the bodies, and she won't be part of them. Silence was the stern reply. You don't care. Know. You don't care, do you?
I'm not. I'm not invested in this at all.
It's fine, dude. It's fine.
But yeah, she was on film, wasn't she? She was the she was milking a cow.
She was milking the cow. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And do you know what's really funny? We've been talking about porn and sex and everything, and I haven't done one Sid James and one Pornhub jingle throughout this entire review, which I think is quite ironic, really.
I think we've been very sensible.
I think we have. I think we've tried really quite hard. Ooh, missus. Anyway. Has anyone got anything additional to add to this? Because otherwise I get a feeling I might just be going around sort of like just saying my bit over and over again.
Well, okay, with that, can we ask everyone's favourite moment?
Ooh. The one moment that made me go, ooh, yeah, but also made me feel like it was it was both sad and also extremely creepy, was when the old lady got in behind Mia Goth, when Pearl got in behind Maxine and just gave her a hug and a bit of a stroke, and it was just like, and on the one hand I was sitting there going, oh, this is proper old school exploitation cinema type horror, and then on the other hand it's like, yeah, but she's not being mean or nothing. She just wants to be next to someone. You're in this kind of weird kind of place.
Mean.
Yeah, you're trying to be sort of like you find yourself sort of in this weird sort of place of going. She just wants to have someone give her a bloody hug. And unfortunately, she's giving someone else a bloody hug, and it's just like, oh. So on one hand, you're sitting there going, "This is fucking awful, horrible," and then on the other hand, you're going, "Oh." So I was in that kind of weird position. I thought, okay, I quite enjoyed sort of that whole sort of like uncomfortable but kind of feeling of conflicted emotions. What about?
I think that actually says a lot about you as a person, that you see what the antagonist was actually after. It's that it's that closeness, that intimacy with someone, even if she's just going about it all the wrong fucking way.
Oh yeah.
It's that point where she's become so desperate for that that this is what she does.
Yeah, she would just be happy if everyone could just lay in bed and just stay there.
Or her, well, you know what she says. She's like, it's a particular type of person that she has that with.
Yeah,
she don't like blondes. As she said. Yeah, and the other one with dark hair is, she hasn't got that same sort of X factor.
Yeah, well, that's because Pearl wasn't staring through the window at her going hell for leather with the dude.
With the dude.
The Marine.
Yes, with the H.G. Wells.
Yeah. The Martian War Machine. Yeah.
Ooh la!
Oh God. I really hope that doorstop that was swinging around between these in the silhouette was a prosthetic. I really do.
Why are you wearing that grandfather clock on your group? Oh, oh right, yeah, no,
Dong.
that's not. No,
Dong.
yeah, exactly, dong.
Nice.
Anyway, go on, Jim. Did you have a favourite scene or moment?
I like the heart-to-heart the director has with the young chap, but I also do like that scene where Pearl gets into bed with Mia Goth, because that was just so kind of like, oh, where are we now?
What's going on?
Yep.
But I think I like that sort of mixture of emotions it evokes, and you suddenly realise, well, what are we dealing with here? This isn't going to be some fucking hick with a bag on his head.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It wasn't just an unfeeling psychopath. I mean, even though she did obviously kill people, but you're sort of you're not dealing with someone who's, a Michael Myers or a Jason Voorhees or something like that who you just can't reason with. They're just, or the Terminator or something. They're just on a mission to just cause havoc, mayhem, and murder. There was a kind of almost like was it Norman Bates?
Well, yeah, there is that sort of character study. So it isn't just he's a psycho, therefore they are mute, invincible, and they can catch you even if they walk and you run.
Exactly.
He's actually a rounded character, and I think watching it a second time, I picked up a lot more of the hints and the history, and it's one of those films where you know where it's going, and you watch it a second time, you see how carefully lots of stuff is just woven together.
Yeah.
And there's, it all stacks up really nicely, put it that way.
Yeah.
Pardon the phrase.
Pardon the phrasing. Phrasing. Do we not do phrasing anymore? Cool. Darren?
I've got nothing else to add, really.
No.
Oh. I think it's all been said, and I see the point in the relationship between the old couple. I
Mm.
think they're quite tragic characters, the pair of them. They're quite sad. I know there's a whole bit like killing people and whatever, but dusting away that top level there and going a bit deeper, they just are. They just are a very sad couple. It's just just leaves you it leaves you unhappy. That's it. Just thinking about them. Killing aside, just what they've got, what they've ended up with, the situation they've got themselves into.
Killing aside, all the dead bodies, all the missing people, all the people stuck in the basement naked. Apart from that, what have the Romans given us?
That's all comic book shit, right? That really is. That's just nothing. That's just that's just a distraction from what's going on there. It's not, it's some over the top. It's it's you can't take that seriously, but it's the other message that they've got underneath. It's loneliness. It's the onset of old age, what it does. The fact that those two are by themselves out there. Nobody comes to visit them. Nobody. They haven't got like loads of people around them. It's when one goes, it's like, what if he dies before she does? What happens to her?
Yeah,
that's it. It's like that's it. She's done for.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a whole load of tragedy just there, right there.
Though, let's just lighten the mood slightly in the most inappropriate way by saying the bit when she blew herself clean out the door with the shotgun.
That was funny. That was my favourite bit where she shoots. That was my favourite bit. Sorry, yes, that's it. That was my favourite bit. That was where she fires the shotgun and goes flying straight out the fucking door.
Yeah.
Oh, my hip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, me hip. Oh dear. Anyway, right. I think we'll leave it there. So thank you very much for that. If anybody else has any thoughts, if they want to lament the passing of time and decrepitude and the lack of love in their relationship, then do feel free to.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Yes, I remember the old Pulp song. Help the aged.
Oh God. I kissed you then and I liked it. Anyway, if you got any thoughts, do send them in to the usual addresses, feedback@blackbillpodcast.com for the email, or the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Blackbill Podcast, or as ever, go straight over to the Twitter hellscape. Say Elon Musk is a knob end, and then send us a message through DMs. We're at Blackbill Podcast, though probably not for long at that point because thin skin. Anyway, so before we leave and stop over at Pimp's Corner, we've got one more thing to do, which is to find out what film we are reviewing next. And it is your turn, Elton.
It is, yes. I've got two in mind, and I think I might get you guys to have a little chat and decide on which one.
Oh, here we
Dangerous.
go. Here we go. Go on in.
I think I know which way you're going to go. So the first choice, and they're both on Netflix, is Legend.
Right.
The Tom Hardy split thing.
Oh, that Legend, not Tom Cruise. Not Tom Cruise, the unicorn
Tim
one.
Crumb-
Are we
Tim
talking
Curry the Devil.
darkness?
No, we're talking.
know me, boy. That one.
We're talking Legend, as in Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy,
Oh.
the Craze.
Oh,
Yeah, the
no.
craze one.
Mm-hmm.
Or-
okay.
Or The Gentleman,
Gentleman.
the Guy Ritchie movie. Okay, I can sense that we don't want to do them. So, Albatross.
No. We're not albatrossing it. Those are the two choices that you have put them before us. You were going to pick them either way, so it's down to us. I'm going to abstain because I've seen both. I'm going to abstain because I have seen both.
Oh, that's not fair.
I have
no.
very strong feelings about one in particular. and yeah, that could.
Oh,
that
which
could,
one?
I'm not going to tell you, otherwise you might pick it. Jim, how are you feeling right now on this?
Oh, sick to my soul.
Yeah.
I've been burnt by Guy Ritchie before. I've avoided his later career for good reason.
Yeah.
It's a winning streak I'm not willing to break at this stage of my life.
Well, I might have
Legend I am interested to see, but I do have that kind of like, should we be glamorising the Clays again, really? But I like Tom Hardy, and I'm intrigued to see his performance. So I'm very.
But
torn
this time
on that one.
he brings added funny voices though. This time with this one, and
Yeah.
I ain't shitting you either when I say that. He really does bring.
This time, don't you remember my turn as Bane?
No, when he talks a bit like this. It's the Crane twins. Like this. Hello.
And it's I'm pretty sure they didn't fucking speak like that, but you know.
You were born in the Black Beggar pub. I was merely molded by it.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Go on.
I don't know, man.
Blind beggar pub. Sorry.
Blind beggar. Oh, okay. I don't think I quite remember what the gentleman's about. So maybe I'll pick the gentleman. I don't know.
Well, there you go. The only even close to positive vote was Darren going for the gentleman, which means we're going to be doing the gentleman.
Okay.
Are we?
Yeah, because Jim's kind of like and I'm like Elton won't say, and you actually went, well, I haven't seen the gentleman. That's we can either have a 3-hour podcast of all four of us just arguing over which one of these films we don't want to watch.
I just didn't want to do a horror movie again.
No, that's fine.
We've done horror, but I just wanted something. I enjoy both of these movies.
Okay.
I really do enjoy both of these movies.
Okay.
And that's why I'm like, oh, what one? I don't know. And I thought we may sway towards The Gentleman rather than Legend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a Tom Hardy voice-off type thing, and that might put everyone off of it. And
Tom Hardy voice off. Tom Hardy's
Voice up, bro.
Tom Hardy's voiceovers. Would you like Public Schoolboy from Inception? You have to try a little harder, darling. Or would you like Crazy Man?
A little bit
from,
of Obi-Wan in there.
Or would you like Crazy Man from Batman?
No, I'm stuck in a hole.
Or would you like him in Venom?
You are better than I did, dear.
or would you like him in Manson? Shut up, you cunt! Shut up! Tom Hardy voiceovers are not available
or in a
any
plane that glides for 2 hours in Dunkirk.
Tom Hardy's voiceovers are not available in any shops. Okay, so we're doing The Gentleman then.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Sorry, Jim.
It's all right. I still remember you hated The Gentleman, didn't you?
I did. I fucking hated it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. There are bits I liked. I liked Colin Farrell as the coach, but fuck me, Hugh Grant can take a flying fuck off a tree. He really can.
It's that one.
Yes.
Right,
That one.
Okay.
It's all your fault now, Dal.
Oh, cheers. Thank you.
Anyway, so there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear, the joyous news that we're doing The Gentleman. So,
I thought we weren't doing another horror movie.
Right. Anyway, yes. Be interesting to see it again, I guess. Maybe I'll just have to skip past the hello. I'm Hugh Grant. I'm supposed to be some kind of sleazy kind of journalist.
God blimey, strike a light.
Because
Don't be down with a fever.
You ain't noticed that I ain't got a axe to grind with journalists over the last 10 years, says Hugh Grant, playing a journalist as a sleazy scumbag. Anyway, so yeah, no, that's good. I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about. Right, so over to Pimp's Corner. And Jim, how's things going over in Hypnagoria land?
Very busy. I'm not entirely sure what this next week's episode is going to be. I might be having a chat with Tom Burgess, who does various ghostly books.
Nice.
I might be doing a tribute to Kev O'Neill. It's a bit up in the air. But there is a new commentary club coming out in which we look at who framed Roger Rabbit. And also another Flaxman Lowe occult detective ghost story will be out at the end of the week as well.
Nice. And that's all over at hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
Lovely and indeed jubbly. Elton, what about you, sir?
Well, on Shonky Lab, there was an episode released a couple of weeks ago on politics, and I will be recording another episode tomorrow night, and possibly another episode during the week.
Is that another politics one?
No, it's not another
Politics 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I can't do any more. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. I really am.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
So tired of it.
So very tired.
And I think that is about it. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Okie dokie. And Darren, are you on anything apart from mescaline?
Great ones, think I like.
Yep.
No, I am not at all. I'm not sort of like, worrying the airwaves with my dulcet tones.
Okie dokie.
Any way, shape or form, apart from here.
Okay. I'm not anywhere at the moment, though I did send in a voice note to Andy Palastides on his Great Derelict episode, which is coming up soon, about the where he does his musical interludes.
I did as well.
Cool. I've sent him a couple, so I have no idea which one's going to actually turn up. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. But so you might be able to hear me and Elton on Great Derelict in the not too distant future over at greatderelict.libsyn.com. I think that's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
No problem.
And as ever, if you want to send in feedback, you know all the usual channels. But until next week, when we turn up for The Gentleman, which is a lovely story, if you can imagine a script, written by someone with an axe to grind. Hello, lovely chap. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, we'll be there for the Cockney voice-off next week with The Gentleman. Until then, take care. Lovely jubbly. See you soon. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I can't think of one. Bye-bye.
You could just go for the Brosnan. The Bronson. Shut up, you cunt! Get that wax around me. Get that wax.
Grease me up, you cunt!
Grease me up. Grease me up. Don't you touch my arsehole, you. Anyway, bye, everyone.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.